We've got our first snow. My fingers and toes are freezing because I'm playing with all the water systems on the property. I woke up this morning not expecting to do this because I was not paying attention to the weather because I never do. um, so here I am, back in the highest point where I'm tapping the water from the spring, trying to get this all drained out and figure this out. But I had to take a moment. I feel like because this snow and just the peacefulness of the woods back here is so amazing. The just the peace, like, the serenity back in this mountain right now. Oh, and the funny thing is, like, this morning, the dread and procrastination of like thinking about having to be outside in the cold doing this stuff. It's real, and every time I think about this, every single thing I've done on this property has been like that. And there's always a thought of like something's going to be more difficult than it ends up being, or it's just the dread of like having to do stuff and understanding that stuff's hard work. And every time I push through that and then just go do what I plan to do, in the midst of doing it, it's not like I ever imagined. And there's so much more amazingness in the moment of like getting that stuff done than I ever imagined every time. And this is one of them. Like, I dragged out this morning a good bit, but then I just started hunting down some winter clothes and got to it. And this has made me appreciate the property even more. Like, every time I'm doing something like this, there's a new just respect and real love for this property here. There's so much potential and so much variation of what the property goes through the seasons, and every bit of it's amazing in its own way. Um, but yeah, I feel like I had to share that. Uh, it's tough because I the property wasn't quite prepared for this winter. I'm hoping maybe next season I'll have more stays that are way more capable and comfortable through this winter. But I don't know. I have a lot of other stuff I'm planning to get accomplished in other areas to be better suited to really go all in here a lot more heavily. This season was incredible. So much stuff got done. The transformation of this property has been mind-boggling, and it's, again, it's kind of part of that pushing through that kind of procrastination or like dread of the hard work or like the unknown and stuff, and just doing it. And then once you start doing it, I feel like that's when it actually is the best. It's like the most amazing. It feels so nice. And like, I don't know what the psychology term for that is, or what the case is with that, but it's like it's such a real thing. It's like just going past that first stage to just doing and creating and accomplishing stuff, and then being in the midst of that journey of building and creating. I feel like that's the best part. I think it's amazing to dream up stuff, and it's amazing to accomplish and finally build or create something. But that in between, that's got to be one of my favorite parts. Is just like I am just like out here in the woods in the snow trying to drain these water tanks. I don't know. I like it. There's something that brings you really into the moment, tackling stuff like this. Like, it's almost like meditative for me, just working on a task, from one thing to the next, step by step, holding some kind of bigger vision or ideal, um, and continuing to move forward, whatever little steps that ends up being. But I didn't think that was going to be a monologue, but there you go. The trees back here are so cool. So these are the yellow tulip poplars, and there's a bunch of them on this north side of the mountain where all the fern and moss is. I'm planning to definitely do some cool little tree houses and bridges between the buildable ones. Just a couple really really nice ones that follow the spring all the way up. And I have some videos under the tree house like playlist of some shorts and stuff of me showing some of those trees and kind of daydreaming about those tree houses, which is one of the big visions of mine that I'm slowly poking away at as well. That's so peaceful. Dang. All right, I better get back to work. My fingers are gonna fall off. Bye, y'all.